Wholeness. Welcome to Runes of Silvertree. I offer you this Wednesday energy reading for the human collective. And this reading, before we get into it, is very interesting. Today's topic, or the title of today's message, is the medicine wheel of the red serpent, and it deals with a potential outcome regarding our human collective, regarding our timeline as a human collective. I will never sit here and tell you, predictions of the future. Because to know the future is to be trapped by it, but to open yourself to potential outcomes, to know that there's several different outcomes to one event or to one experience, that to me resonates more than telling you and sharing with you all the future, if you will. Okay? When we focus primarily on the past, present, future, the linear perception of time, it's very, very fixed, okay? It's very organized. There's order there to the chaos, okay, of our experiences and our moments that we experience in our life. But today's message is primarily focused on the cyclical cycle of time. And yeah, I'm really excited to share this with you because it's very rare. This isn't really primarily focused on the energy vortex for the human collective. This is focused on the wheel, if you will. I like to call it the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is a different interpretation of energies and happenings that take place in your life or in our life as a human collective. So let's get into the reading. So, as you can see here, we have the X, okay? The X is a very feminine energy. You have the XX chromosome, right? The chromosome of female, right? And but then when you turn the wheel, when you turn this cross, this X into, like arms, the universal symbol, the symbol or hand gesture is when you cross both forearms, and that means no, right? No entrance. It's a no-go. It's the opposite of yes, okay? But with the medicine wheel that I pulled from the runes, Source has been guiding me on how to build a certain energy reading around some of the symbols that I pull. And I know that when I pull the medicine wheel, it means great change, great shift, and in a divine order to things, okay? Cyclical meaning cycle. We go through cycles in our life. And with the medicine wheel, we enter into different seasons of our life, right? We have our spring, we have our summer, we have our fall, and we have our winter. And within these seasons, you can study your own, you can pretty much predict your own timeline, your own lifeline, if you pay attention to the happenings in each of your seasons. And we'll get into what this cyclical energy reading is all about in a moment. But I wanted to really get into the medicine wheel, the rune that I pulled. And anytime that I pull this rune, it means it's my butterfly rune, actually. And the butterfly is symbolic for source, for ultimate transformation, for guidance, supreme loving guidance. And with this rune that I pulled of the medicine wheel, there's so much packed into it. Okay, everything must follow some sort of order, and there's even order within chaos. Okay, and in this matrix, in this reality that we are coexisting in together as a human collective, there is a divine order. There is a sacred order to things. Okay, we have been trained since birth that we follow these calendars. Okay, now we live in a very patriarchal society at the moment, and we are raised in the Western world using the Gregorian calendar. All right, and that's a 12-month calendar based off of actually ancient Roman traditions and culture. But that's a whole nother discussion. I want to do a lot more research on that and how that pretty much impacts how the human collective deals with cycles of change. And I found it very interesting pulling the medicine wheel, the medicine wheel, the rune, because we're at the last month of the Gregorian calendar in the Western world. And I specifying the Gregorian calendar in the Western world because there's so many different timelines, ancient timelines. Okay, you have the Mayan calendar, you have the Chinese calendar or the Chinese astrology, you have the Vedic calendar or the Vedic astrology, you have the Druid, calendar. There's many different traditions and how these ancient cultures kept time so that their tribes and their wise women and wise men and medicine women and medicine men could help better the decisions, needed to be made during, very successful seasons or unsuccessful seasons. So in the Western world, we have the 12-month calendar, and this medicine wheel that I pulled, this rune, I was guided to focus on spring, summer, fall, winter. And so, yes, I'm not saying that, this reading is going to be the end-all, be-all. I don't believe in that. Anything is possible. There is no finite way to go about interpreting possibilities. There's nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed. Okay, I must reiterate that. But so with this you literally can see a wheel because all of my runes are cut from the cherry tree, the choka berry tree that's found in the Southwest, and specifically I was in the Albuquerque area in the Southwest, and I found this beautiful, very young choka. They call it choka berry, the choka tree. It's a type of cherry tree, and they make choka juice, choka jams. It's delicious, small little berry, and it has a small little seed inside, and it's very sweet and supple. And I did research on what the choka was, and it was actually quite challenging to find the meaning behind the medicine or anything on the choka tree. But it was very, very well connected to the southwestern, native tribes, the choka berry. So I'm continuing doing more research on that when it comes to the tree medicine. But yes, I will say with trees, and I also see the tree here with this rune that I pulled. With trees, the trees are capable of being firm and weathering all storms, all seasons. Okay? You have trees that survive flooding, fires, windstorms, disease even. Some trees grow tumors, some trees grow or get eaten at from the inside out, termites. But most trees stand firm through all seasons, and you are that tree. So this medicine wheel is we can go real deep into it, but I feel guided by source to just focus in on the cyclical portion, okay? Meaning seasonal, and using the Gregorian calendar so that you all, the human collective, can understand the message here. So this next slide, I just wrote this all out, yes, I know how to PowerPoint, but I just think that whenever you're writing something out, it's just in the raw moment, it captures that energy. And so that's what I did. And this is just an overview, the cyclical energy reading map. Okay. It's just an energy map so that you can understand the next portion of the reading. So of course, we have the spring, summer, fall, or sometimes people call it autumn, and then winter. Okay? And according to the Gregorian calendar, we have 4 quarters of the year. Business or corporations base this, our whole financial system is in tax, especially with taxes, tax season, is based off of this structure. Okay, you have the beginning of the year, January, February, March. That's labeled as spring. And then you have second quarter, April, May, June. Third quarter, July, August, September. And winter, October, November, December. The marked months, we have March, June, September, December, are the solstices, okay? Meaning the literal shift in the season. The January is obviously, to us, it's, winter. However, it is early spring, okay? January is the later part of winter. February is the end of winter. March is that change, that transitional period into April. April being the late spring. Then we have May, middle spring, and then late or beginning of that transition into early summer, that June, okay? And then that transitional period, it falls into July and August, July being the middle of summer, early fall, August, late summer, and then September, that transitional period that leads us into the late fall, winter, and then November, late fall, winter, and then that transitional period into winter. Okay, let's talk about arrival days or birth days. When, and this is tied to specifically to the medicine wheel, I am or was born in November. Okay. And so November is the highlight. Winter is the fourth quarter of the year is a very, very important portion for me. That's my most important quarter. You have the month October that comes before November, and then December that follows. The month before, the month of, and the month after your birth is incredibly significant. Okay? If you are also born on the transitional periods of each season, meaning March, June, September, December, that's also a very critical, powerful month for you. Everyone's medicine wheel will look different according to the month that they were born. Now, you may ask, well, Nadja, what's wrong with astrology? Why can't I just use that energy map and study the 12 houses? You can. Any system that resonates with you, wherever you're at on your path, go right ahead. But I feel guided to that source is having me simplify this in a different way. The tricky thing with astrology is that I'm noticing it can be very misleading for many people when it comes to understanding your astrology chart, your birth chart, your natal chart. It's a lot. I find it personally overwhelming. And I said, okay, I'm done with that. I think some of it is, it's a great way to begin your journey. But, again, I just find that this is a more simplified approach that Source is guiding me into creating for you all. So the best way to study your medicine wheel is by getting a bullet journal. Now, some people will say, well, why not, keep a journal and write it in every day or a diary. And I've done that for 20 years. And it got to the point where I was carrying a lot of weight with me, carrying a lot of memory, carrying a lot of energy with me with these books. And about 3 years ago, around my 30th birthday, I got rid of them all. And I, studying online, trying to figure out a better way to keep track of the events in my life. And I came across this method with the bullet journal, where you create your own calendar, or you use the Gregorian calendar, obviously, but you just write down everything and all the things that you do. You keep track. You keep track of, your appointments. You keep track of your tasks. You keep track of projects, goals, ambitions, dreams, setbacks. It's a nice little check-in, And so far, I've had one since the spring of 2020, and I'm on my second bullet journal. And it's really neat going back in the previous journal. I'm flipping through what took place in November 2020, and it's a beautiful way you don't get lost in the emotions per se, but the events that took place, you can pinpoint the connection between the two events. And you can see that we enter in these cycles, and within these cycles, things repeat themselves over and over and over and over. And this is the relationships, this is jobs, moving, breakups, marriages, children, successes, failures, illnesses, all of the above. So it's a much more simplified way to keep track of what's happening in your life. And the medicine wheel is it's an exercise, and it's a different approach on studying and self-mastery. Because when you can really just spread out that the events that take place in your life that keep repeating over and over and over, and you can study when they take place in the first, second, third, fourth quarter of your year, according to the Gregorian 12-month calendar, then you'll be able to predict your own energy vortex and the direction that you're going. If your energy vortex is stagnant, if your energy vortex is active, if your energy vortex is underactive or inactive, if your energy vortex is going left, going right, is distracted, it tends to be more vulnerable and open, or closed and in like hermit mode. It's a very personalized practice, okay? So, and that's just for the individual. And I'll get into that more next year, in the years to come, because there's a really big project dealing with this whole thing. But I just wanted to share just a basic overlay of what it means when it comes to the simplification of the medicine wheel. I don't want this to be too overwhelming. I want it to be very simple. And so let's get into the actual runes that I pulled for each season. Okay, this is the actual sigil reading for year 2022. 2022. Here we go. So you can see we have the energy wheel, the cross. Okay, we have our spring in the first quarter, summer, second, fall, third quarter, winter, fourth quarter. And yes, it's going clockwise, not counterclockwise. It's a different type of energy. This is clockwise, okay? So we're going from left, right, left, right. In the first season, the spring, the first 3 months of 2022, we have January, February, March. You see we have what I call the Kundalini rune or the Serpent. And usually you'll have the serpent energies towards the end of the year because you're taking off that last layer of skin so that you can move on to the next cycle for the next year, the next new year, right? But what I find very interesting is that we're taking off a cloak. Something is going to be revealed within the next 3 months, January, February, and March. Okay? And I also see a spiraling downward, a descent, okay? A descent of some kind. And I don't believe that a descension or descending into the underworld is a scary or should be a scary experience for anyone. Sometimes you need to descend into the underworld to uncloak and uncover what needs to be known, or to uncover a truth that needs to be received. And I find for the human collective, it's already set. It's fate. It's almost like once you open up, or once your Kundalini awakens, you can't shove it back inside. You can't. It's almost like trying to capture the light of the sun in a tube, or in some kind of entrapment. You can't do it. It's a fated event or an fated direction that we're headed towards. And again, you have to keep in mind, as above, so below. So if something's descending in this world and something's ascending, okay? So it's don't ever forget that. Because I know here, in the New Age community, you hear this is the whole ascension, golden age propaganda. And it to me, it's a type of narrative, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, because with each narrative holds a frequency. With each season that we have in the spring of January, February, March 2022, it holds stories. So this is just a story that I'm seeing. Something, we are going in a fated direction, and something will be uncovered and revealed. Something revealed before its time. Something that's going to be revealed before its time, because usually before you relieve yourself of the serpent's skin, or the serpent's skin, you go through this each season. You don't skip ahead, right? You don't go backwards. Everything has its own divine order and divine space, divine timing. But this is happening at the very beginning of the year. And I think this is also going to tie into winter, which we'll get into next. And they are collating together, okay, for a very specific reason. The next quarter, we have summer, right? April, May, June. April, May, June, chaos. This is my alchemy rune, okay? With alchemy, there's chaos. You're working with raw elements, okay? The elements of the energy vortex, the elements of fire, water, earth, wind, and spirit, and source. I am seeing two different energies here. In the middle, it looks like an atom, okay? And then you see the neutrons, protons, and then you see these open angled, what looks like hands on the outside manipulating. You're using someone's manipulating, and I see a lot of wind energy. You know, these two circles just encircling around themselves with these atoms and electrons and protons and neutrons. And I see hands, you know, crafting something. And the first energy is yes, energy manipulation, some form of magic, some form of emotional stimulus. Have you ever realized or noticed that the medicine wheel of the collective every summer, okay, there happens to be a very large event that takes place, right? It's like it can be incredibly chaotic. It really can. Last summer we had the riots, we had lockdowns, it was a mess, right? And, you know, we had a just highly publicized, it was just awful. Fires and all that stuff just happening all at once. And, you know, that summer, it holds that wind energy, okay? It's very fast paced. People are outside traveling. Summer is the time where we travel. Summer is the time when we are out and about. We're taking a break. We're shooting the breeze. It's very fast energy coming out of that spring where we're just slow. It's, you know, the spring energy is very slow and very feminine and soft. In summer, you have that sun, that rich green, and everything's green. You don't really see too many flowers everywhere. It's just green and overgrowth, right? Just hot. And that's the time of, you know, where people wear less clothing and people are going out and just living. And on the flip side of that, when you have that much wind energy, you know, and heat and just, it can boil in a chaotic way. So be very mindful in this summer, okay? Between April, May, June of 2022, I'm just seeing also self-mastery. For the human collective, I'm seeing this the angles that you see in this rune are pointed inward, but then I also see arrows pointing outward, meaning this individual or the collective, some of us are at the center, that dot there, and we've mastered all 4 and 5 elements: northwest, east, south, earth, water, fire, wind, ether. And you're the mastermind of it all. You're telling which, you know, element to go where. You are the driving force behind your reality. And this is a master rune. This is like it's very, very powerful. Or it's either this time of the year is a great time for exploring your ideas, expanding your ideas, or your ideas are crippled. And it's about being very strong, standing firm in your belief system, and making sure that your energy vortex is on fleek, okay? Like making sure that you are eating right, making sure that you're getting enough rest, making sure that you have a solid diet, making sure that your health is not subpar. Be sure that your decisions that you make at this time at around April, between June, okay, that late spring, early summer, that you rest, okay? Specifically those that were born in October, November, December, okay, around those months, be very, 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 very careful, because your opposing season is summer. So winter folks that were born in the first 3 months, October, November, December, your summer is like, that's your chill. Like, don't have too much going on. If anything, that's a great time to go and to deepen it's a great time to deepen your spiritual practices. If you want to go to ashrams, if you want to do a silent retreat, if you want to study spiritual practice, just simplify anything and everything that you can during the summer. Okay? That's critical. And for those of you born in the summer, April, May, and June, this is your high time. This is your time to shine. Okay? Remember, it's the month before, the month of, and the first month after your birth, your arrival in this world. That's a pivotal point each year of your human life. Let's see. Yeah. Make sure that, you just, those of you with this opposing season, winter, okay? If you're born in winter and summer is your opposing season, please just be very careful of making decisions around April, May, and June. It's not the best time. It's not the best time to do that. It's easy to fall under energetic manipulation, meaning things outside of your control are controlling you. Okay? Until you realize, right? These are very painful lessons here if you move too quickly. So summer is your time to slow down, winter people. Okay? Next, in the third quarter, we have the new moon rune. Very interesting. New moon is, I see mystery. And the first time when I pulled this rune for the third quarter of the Gregorian calendar, I saw people peering into a well. Like I was looking at this circle. I was looking at this new moon, this circle, but I saw people peering down, like we were both looking into each other's worlds. This is very deep, okay? This is like there's some sort of underworld activity going on at this time. And obviously that makes sense. You have late summer, early fall energy, July, August, September. Those of you who are born in the fall, this is very powerful. This is the perfect time to set your intentions for your next year. Okay? Those of you who are born in August, okay, you have like July, all of August and September to plant your seed then. Okay? Your opposing season is spring. So January, February, and March, that's your weak spot. You need to be very, very careful in the months of January, February, March. And yes, there's always this excitement, right, of I'm going to, your New Year resolution. I'm going to do this, or I'm never going to smoke again, or I'm going to dump this person, or I'm going to start this new job, or I'm going to start this business. And then it just kind of pitfalls. But then you have some people who start a project, during that spring season, that spring cycle, and it works out for them. But then for others, they plant their seed at that time, and then by the end of the year, they're completely going 5 steps backwards, And so you must be aware of this. Those of you who are born in the fall, very good things. It's a perfect time to do a lot of self-reflection and peering into other worlds of you, other worlds than these. It's a very magical time to have the new moon energy. We, in the Matrix, they hype the full moon. No. Moon days are not, the new moon and full moon days are nights, I should say, is not the time to do your energy manipulation or your energy work. It's not. Because it can be very imbalancing. You need to, when the portal opens 3 days before and closes 3 days after, that's the time to charge whatever you need to charge or release or receive at that time. It's even before the moon portal opens that you should be doing the work. You should be setting intention, not when the portal opens wide open. That's just when the portal opens. You use that as an extra boost to charge whatever needs to be charged, energetically speaking. But I don't know. It just kind of irks my nerves when people are like, oh, new moon, let's just all set your intention. No, you should have done that almost 2 weeks ago. It's That's one thing people don't talk about. And how do I know all this? Through source, okay? Through guidance and through practice, but really just opening myself up to source. Last but not least, we have the womb rune, divine feminine. We have a sacred mother, okay? That womb. And it's very interesting now that I look at this, because I think I only see one masculine energy here, and that's during the summer. And in the summer cycle, you have that chaos rune or energy manipulation rune. But I have the red serpent here in the first quarter. I have the new moon, which is feminine, and then representing the underworld, the mystery, the mirror, and then I see the womb here. So we're beginning the new year with Kundalini type energy and faded energy, but then we enter the opposite of that is the womb. Okay? So there's an imbalance here, most certainly. And that's shown in the 3 energy I see in the last part of the year. 3 is chaos. Okay? It's the 3-legged chair, I like to call it. It's a chaotic, imbalanced type of thing, but you have during the summer, my human collective, it's about self-mastery. It's about mastering the self so that you can manipulate chaotic energy. And you have the fall, this very calm, but it's like a silent storm. It's like a storm without any sound, without any thunder, but a lot of lightning. There's activity going on, but it's still calm. It's like the calm before the storm. I don't necessarily see a storm coming in the winter, but I do see something that's very unstable. However, this is also that energy when you see the womb, all right, the flipped triangle, the inverted triangle, it's creativity, it's power. But you have to go through, this step by step. And in some seasons, according to the month of your birth, will be more prominent than others. Okay? This is very abstract. Nothing is fixed. And that's how I like to do my readings. I don't like to give you specific days, specific times, I'm not going to claim that. That's not how source works through me. It just doesn't. And that's okay. If it comes a time where I'm open enough to receive the exact time and place and I'm guided to share, I'll let you know. But I'm not going to go about doing that because there's 8 billion souls on this planet. That means 8 billion different lifelines and energy vortexes all intermingling at once. So if I told you something so specific, and you're taking that as your own timeline, but it's not meant for you, that's very dangerous. Because then I'd be programming you, I'd be selling you a narrative that's not in alignment of your path. So I'm speaking to the human collective, which is within me, it's within you, it's within us. Okay? So yes, that's what I'm saying. So let's talk about how all of these energies, for the year 2022, how they're all connected in the relationship. Okay. Now I've mentioned the word opposing. Okay. So meaning for example, anything that's beneath the first quarter. So first and third quarter, that's opposing energies, all right? You have this spiraling movement going like round and round and round, and then you have this just black, in the third season, you have this black mysterious space. There's no up, there's no down, there's no left, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no correct. There's just nothing but pure potentiality. And then, but above that, you have this movement this kind of like a drunken, the visual that I got when I pulled this rune was just this person just moving around, just kind of swirling around, right? In place, though. They're sitting, but they're swirling, like the upper half of their body swirling around and around, like they're drunk or in a trance. Okay, so next we have the next opposing force, next opposing energies is in second quarter and the fourth quarter. So you have a lot of movement during the summer months of April, May, June. And then you have a very, very chaotic, feminine, creative energy happening at the very end of the year. I'm trying to see how they're opposing each other. Because at this point, I'm seeing the relationship, I'm seeing chaos and chaos. And then I'm seeing in the first and third quarter, I'm seeing that there's just vast open mystery. It's very secretive, though. And then this just forward movement downward into maybe it's leading into, I see from first quarter, I'm seeing this downward movement into chaos. From the second quarter, I'm seeing focus and mastery, which you'll need to enter into the underworld of the new moon, that underworld mystery space of pure potentiality. And then, okay, I'm getting like a visual of space and stars. So something very cosmic. It's like an initiation. So we're going down this spiral in the first quarter, downward, 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 like Alice in Wonderland, okay? Remember what the doorman said, the White Rabbit song, okay? And we're going down that rabbit hole into chaos. But then through chaos, you're supposed to learn how to manipulate the chaos. And then that initiates you into self-mastery so that you can gain access to pure potentiality of the cosmos, of your cosmic truth of the cosmos. And with that, when you have access to pure potentiality and you don't get lost in the darkness, you don't get lost in the shadow of your own consciousness, your own demons and things that lurk underneath the surface of who you really are, then you can have access to the womb of all creation, to the mother of all that is. Each season, each energy I'm seeing in each season is an initiation. I know last week I shared a video called Initiates or Initiated Beyond the Beyond. And this kind of neatly ties into this. Right? You go down the white rabbit goes down that hole into chaos. It's like Alice in Wonderland. Okay? And Alice is going down this spiral and then into the second energy here. It's chaotic for her in the underworld. She's like, what in the world? Up is down, down is up, black is white, white is black. What's happening? And then she goes even deeper into it after she is initiated into that space. Because here's the thing, there's a potential to get lost in the chaos of each energy. You can go down a spiral and keep going and going and going and going and going and going and never stopping. You just keep going. Like the energy bunny, right? It's very interesting how the bunny, the rabbit, the animal rabbit, that rabbit spirit's coming up. Because the rabbit carries a lot of fear and anxiety, but the same fear and anxiety helps it to survive and to make very quick moves, because if it doesn't move quickly, it perishes. It gets eaten. Remember, eyes in front hunt, eyes on the side hide. Okay. But don't get lost in the chaos of fear and anxiety, because you won't be able to handle what the mystery in this portal here. It's like we're facing our inner mirror. I also see obsidian. That's what I also see here. I'm seeing obsidian. Obsidian is a type of crystal. I think it's some type of glass. And it's very grounding, but it pulls things up from the underworld of your consciousness. But I'm seeing Black Mirror, you know, that TV show, sci-fi TV show, Black Mirror, right? What happens when you hold up a black mirror to yourself? Ooh. Interesting. And then I see the womb. I see the mother opening her arms. It's almost like a safe haven. I see the rabbit, the white rabbit, running into woods, into a forest. Okay? Into the forest where it can hide and it can feed, it can sleep, and it's the brush and the trees and the shadows of the trees. You know, it protects it from the hawks, the eyes in the sky. Eyes in the sky. Eyes in the sky. That could be the new surveillance that they're coming out with now. You better be tuned in. Okay? Don't tune out. Now is the time to tune in. Now is the time to tune in, because I'm already seeing the very subtle changes in these social platforms or virtual reality. Okay? But yeah, that is the overall energy I'm reading here. So I'm seeing, we have again the energy of the red serpent, the white rabbit. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Now that's starting to connect. So the rabbit is actually the food for the red serpent. I'm seeing the red serpent chasing a white rabbit down this hole, and it's going down, 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 down. The rabbit's running away from the snake, okay, to avoid being eaten. And then it enters into the space of alchemy, where everything is upside down, in the upside down world. And then it enters into the space of peace and mystery and secret knowledge and knowing. And that third season for the human collective is where we truly really become mature, I think, in our decisions. Like, you know who you are. You can't be told anymore. For those who choose, who are initiates or initiated. And then we have the womb of all creation. So in the first and fourth quarter, the relationship between the two, where I'm seeing the white rabbit spiraling downward, running in fear from the red serpent, because the red serpent is change, and it's scared. The white rabbit is scared for change, because it knows that once it's the unknown that scares the white rabbit, and we are the white rabbit as a collective. Because it's like we're afraid of the unknown. Because if we get eaten by the red serpent, oh no, what happens to us? We become its food, and that's where we stop. But the red serpent medicine is here to teach us about the ultimate transformation. It's like the red serpent saying, allow me to eat you. Let me consume you so that you may become initiated into higher frequencies of thought, feeling, and creation. But no, we're running We're running and running and running away and directly into the hands of chaos and manipulation and mind control until we learn how to manipulate and then we know that, and we learn that we are, all that is external from us is us. There is no separation. Okay? That's real true power. That's truth. Okay? There is truly no separation. And that's how you can deepen we can deepen our initiation into the path. And we go deeper into shadow, into a darkness, but know that the darkness is just the womb. Many, light workers or people who call themselves light workers or label themselves as, I'm a healer, I'm holier than thou, I'm awake, all this, that lingo. We really put a lot of emphasis on light. And that's great. And I love it. It's lovely. However, I'm beginning to truly understand as a light worker myself that I have to take and carry my light into what is dark. Okay? We're not just here to bask in the nature of sunlight and just, self-glorify. Oh, look how great I am. Look how knowledgeable I am. Look how intuitive I am. No, it's actually taking the light that we have within our being and sharing that, shedding that light in dark places, whatever that may mean for you. I'm not saying we all got to save the world, okay? Or we have to have 20,000 followers and 20,000 spiritual students. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you got to go out and become a Reiki master. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying you find your niche and you use your light according to what brings you joy and what will create a lasting impact on the person receiving you. Okay? But back to the womb. Within the womb, it's dark, right? The baby is growing. A child is growing within the womb, and it's comforted. It's warm. It's supported. It's supported with nutrients and warmth and love. It's preparing for a birth. And that is actually what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a birth. Oh, wow. Now this all makes sense. Okay. So we have the snake energy at the beginning of the year chasing the white rabbit. And the white rabbit's like, no. I rather continue on my path of darkness and fear of the unknown. And I'll run all the way down to the world of chaos before I ever trust you, serpents. You're going to eat me and make me food. You have all this wealth of wisdom and knowledge, but I don't want any of it because I don't know. I forgot. How can we consume, or how can we open ourselves to something that we fear? How can we open ourselves to something that we've forgotten? Okay? The red serpent is just a reminder. It's a powerful medicine. Okay? And then, so the white rabbit's trapped in the world of chaos, doesn't know what's up, doesn't know what's down. But then there's a shift. There's a shift here, a change. Okay? In the summer months. And then it's like we're being held in the womb of mystery, in the womb of all creation and the fall. Very interesting. And then at the end, there's a rebirth. There's a deeper connection of what we feared. We no longer fear. What we've forgotten, we remember. And that's in the last quarter of 2022. So there's a whole the potential outcome for next year for each season is they're just lessons. They're just lessons. They're just experiences, okay? And there's really nothing to fear I'm seeing here. Or maybe, no, I shouldn't say there's nothing to fear. I shouldn't say that. No, I'm going to cancel that source, cancel that universe. No. I can't sit here and say that fear is an illusion, fear is fake, ha ha ha, you're just believing in nothing. No, we're so powerful that we can actually create fears, and we feed the fear with the fear that we have for what we created. So it's like this perpetual cycle, right? But I'm seeing in each season, it's like this beautiful transformative energy. And some may go crazy. I see chaos. I see craziness. I see stagnation in the fall of next year. I see this deep spiraling, like when there's a partier, when you're young, you're in your teens or in your 20s, and you have you're a friend of yours, and then you watch your friend just party, they're the life of the party. But over time, they just kind of keep spiraling out of control. They keep going downward, into the deeper depths of their own darkness that they're trying to run away from. All the while they're running away, like the deeper they get into the darkness that they're trying to run, like they're trying to get away from. And that's that white rabbit running away from the red serpent. It's like the red serpent's like, okay, you want to go down this way? You're not going to let me consume you. You're not going to take this wisdom. You're not going to take this knowledge and this self-awareness. Okay, and it stops chasing and it lets the rabbit go. But that rabbit is then just thrown to the wolves of the underworld. And it has to figure out that the wolves of the underworld are actually parts of the rabbit that it's forgotten. It's the wolves are the rabbit is the wolf. And it's not until that point in time where you're no longer looking at yourself as a victim, but you're a victor. And the victor is also the victim, right? And that's that fall energy, that awareness, that initiation into this knowing. And then in December of next year, by far, it's a beautiful, and painful. Childbirth is painful. But it's a birthing, if you will, of just a newness. This chaotic, beautiful, but divine, perfect form of energy that we're delivering to ourselves. So, now it makes sense. This red serpent energy is like at the beginning of next year. It's like, why stop fearing yourself? Stop fearing the unavoidable, but the fear gets the best of us at times, and we have to become lost to find ourselves again, right? So that is the reading for the year 2022. It's, pure potential outcome. It is not anything fixed, other than I'm just using the Gregorian calendar that human beings use all over the world. There's 8 billion of us, that use this system, okay? And am I saying this is the only system, the Gregorian calendar? Of course not. There's Mayan, there's astrology, or Western astrology, Eastern astrology, Vedic, Chinese, the lunar calendar, the Druid calendar. I mean, we can go on and on and on. There's so many different ways to do this, but I'm being guided at this point in my life to create a more simplified version so that you can study your own habits, behaviors, and experiences, and study your own cycles so that you can understand how to manipulate your reality based off of your own behaviors. When you master this, then you'll be able to make the decisions that can increase a more positive outcome. You can hire someone for $300, $400, $600 to give you a 10 or 20 page explanation of what all your natal chart is according to Vedic astrology or Western zodiac tropical astrology, all that is. Or you can just begin to map out your own life. And I'm putting together a project that will simplify that. So may this message find you well and whole. Please check out my Seeds of Silvertree is a complimentary YouTube channel, and I have it's called Art Conversations. So I'm into art, black and white pen art. And I just have, conversations on consciousness and spirituality and commentary of the like. And then I also have my third YouTube channel, SLVRTR, my music. Please check that out. As of late, I am posting live recordings of the 99 names of Allah. I think that sound healing using mantras and is by far incredibly healing and soothing. So please check that out as well. Thank you so much for listening in. And again, always remember, expand your consciousness, embrace supreme loving guidance, and evolve your human being. Thank you.